Welcome back as we begin a new hour tonight, especially for folks just sitting down in front of the television, wanting to be updated and wondering what tonight, Super Tuesday night, looked like. We have the following summary for you, the story of this evening, starting with Donald J. Trump. These are the states he came away with: Arkansas, Georgia, Massachusetts, Virginia, Tennessee, and Alabama. Senator Cruz from Texas and Oklahoma. Senator Rubio, Minnesota. Now, we are waiting for Vermont, the GOP race there. Very tight. This has been a slugfest tonight between Trump and Kasich. Bernie Sanders, Vermont, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Minnesota just awarded late this evening. And Hillary Clinton, Massachusetts, big prize for her. Arkansas, Tennessee, Virginia, Texas, another big prize, Georgia, and Alabama. That, thus far, the story of Super Tuesday night, which brings us to our little collection.
On the Democratic side, I think things have gone mostly as the campaigns expected tonight. Again, with Massachusetts being the exception there, and that being both a surprise and, well, likely to be a surprise, but also a big win for Secretary Clinton. There's a lot of delegates there. It's interesting. It's one of those states where they've got a lot of super delegates. So you look at the raw numbers of the delegates that are going to be awarded there, and it doesn't look like it's that many until you get the combined number of earned delegates and supers. She overall has such an overwhelming lead with super delegates that that's going to stack up her overall number toward the nomination in a very, very unbalanced way, as you can see there. Now, on the Republican side, we've got Donald Trump winning 6 states tonight, fighting it out with John Kasich for one of them. Marco Rubio winning the Minnesota caucuses. It's okay. It's his first win. You wouldn't expect it to be in Minnesota, but there you have it. And Ted Cruz winning in his home state, which was do or die. And then the addition, the sort of gravy for him, is Oklahoma. I think that the real question that I have right now on the Republican side, and as somebody who's not a Republican and doesn't have X-ray specs in terms of how they're going to sort this out, is whether or not there's anything that explains the love for Marco Rubio inside the Republican establishment. The Republican Party, when Trump started winning everything, decided, let's anoint Rubio, let's pressure other people to get out of the race, let's dump money on the Rubio super PAC, let's get behind him. You saw the endorsements flood to Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio has tonight put his first win on the board. It is the Minnesota caucus. It's hard to see why he was the one to pick out of everybody in that field.
He says his next one will be his home state of Florida, and on that he has thrown down. Let's go to Texas and Chris Matthews. Chris, every time we get together, I ask you this question. What just happened?
Well, what just happened is the general election has begun. I think if you watched Hillary Clinton tonight, you watched her wrap it up. I think if you watched Trump, he thought he wrapped it up at least. He may well have done that. His direct shots against Hillary Clinton are the beginning of a long, dirty campaign between now and November. Calling her a criminal, basically, is what he did tonight. I mean, there's no limit now to what he'll say about her. And I think that that's the nature of the Republican Party, that their best strength in getting him elected, is her. And her best argument for getting elected president is him. And that is the nature of American politics today. The only way you can win now, if you're those two, is to make the other person the villain, the Darth Vader of the campaign. And that's the way it's going to be. So think of a dirty, dirty, negative campaign. It's coming. Because neither one of these people are perfect. Neither one can get the country inspired about them enough. But they can certainly build the Republican hatred that's already there for Obama, direct that now to Hillary Clinton. So it's going to be a campaign of directed hatred against her, with any charge fair game. And on the other side, I think there's a sense, well, certainly Trump has opened himself up to this. But Hillary Clinton is not going to forget what he said or did not say about David Duke. That will be remembered and memorialized right through Election Day. It's going to galvanize the African-American vote. The thought that that we could have a president who's undecided about the Klan is unimaginable. And so I think this is going to be a very, very tough general election, with the negative being the paramount message for both parties.
Chris, I have to ask you.
That's what happened tonight.
I've always believed that at heart you're an Irish romantic, and you find grandeur and beauty embedded in the world of politics. I am guessing that's just going to take a couple of years off, and that side of the business is going to be absent for a while.
Well, all of these candidates have something that I can think about that I would say positively about them. But if I do that, people will think I'm positive about them. It's more complicated. Every one of them has an attribute I do respect deeply and at least consider on the mark, but no one adds up so far. Trump, in his own way, has a romantic quality, a sort of a Gatsby quality. He appeals to the country that we basically took from the Indians. It has nothing to do with the Declaration or the Constitution. He appeals to that sort of love of motherland, which he knows how to do rather well. Unfortunately, it has a racial aspect to it, which cannot be put aside very easily. But it's there. America. He knows how to do it. The bad guys are the Russians, the bad guys are the Chinese, the bad guys are the Mexicans. It's us against the world. There's a certain sort of nationalism there we all can understand, but it's pretty crude. Hillary Clinton is a lover of government, of progressive government. She's not a great salesman for it, but she is a believer in it. She's absolutely committed to government service. I can tell you, every day of her life, I think, has been about what she can do through government. Part of it's her Methodist background. She's a total believer in good works. She said it tonight, good works. That's who she is. Cruz, you'll have to get me, to push me a little harder to find his greatness. I want to say that Rubio, on the issue of immigration, has been really good in the past. He's chickened out, to use a high school expression or a grade school expression, because he's walked away from his work on the Committee of 8. He really did believe in a comprehensive solution, which got through the Senate with 12 Republicans. He really got to it. As a man who comes from immigrant background, he had the heart of it, which is stop the illegal hiring, but take care of the people who are here, end the lure of illegal jobs, deal with that fact through E-Verify, and he did it. And he stuck his neck out for that. And LULAC doesn't like that. The labor unions don't like that. But he was courageous in doing it. He walked away from it. That's his weakness. And now he's trying to get the party to unite behind him. I think we got a lot of incomplete people running for president right now.
Chris Matthews, thank you very much for answering
that was
the
an
question.
Excellent encyclopedic rundown of all of those candidates. Chris is so good. In terms of what he was just talking about there with Trump and less so Cruz, because he didn't want to go there on what he liked about Ted Cruz.
So much, yeah.
One of the things that we're getting tonight from the exits is the Republican electorate's position on basically the acceptability of these potential nominees. Right now, we've got Ted Cruz having won 3 states overall, Iowa, Texas, and Oklahoma. We've got Marco Rubio having won Minnesota, and we've got Donald Trump having won everything else. When the Republican electorate looks at those potential nominees, Steve Kornacki, what are they seeing?
Yeah, it's interesting, Rachel. We heard a lot after Donald Trump started winning these states from his opponents that, hey, there's a ceiling here on the Republican side. He's got his voters, but what about the rest of the party? They'd never support him. We said, let's ask that question about all the candidates. So what you're seeing here, all the primaries today, these are the exit polls from all the voters and all the primaries. And we asked a simple question, would you be satisfied, Republicans, if Cruz is your nominee? 56% said they would be. 55% said they'd be satisfied with Marco Rubio. 50% said they'd be satisfied with Donald Trump. So not actually a huge difference between those, but